Saturday morning, one of my favorite mornings of the week. No, it is fine today. And we've got a very exciting day ahead of us. It's already the semi-finals of the 2020 online Olympiad. And we've got some very exciting games coming up. Let's just have a look now at the bracket, what we've got in store for us today. The first match, which is due to start very, very soon, is India versus Poland. Now, India, extremely strong chess nation. They have the legendary Anand on board one. Poland had this outrageous Armageddon game yesterday, didn't they, Jovanka? Very exciting stuff.
They did. They got through on that absolutely thrilling Armageddon, all on the basis of a checkmate in the last seconds of the game. But they have some extremely strong players. They have Jan-Krzysztof Duda. He has a phenomenal 10 out of 11 score, and he's going to be up against a former world champion, Vishy Anand. And then you have Wojciech, who is again another 2,700 plus grandmaster. He also worked as a second for Anand. So looking forward to these matchups. And of course, the Indian women players are extremely strong. You have Hampi Kanaru, Women's World Championship challenger, and she's going to be facing up against Grandmaster Monika Sochko. So I'm super excited.
Yes, and we see the other boards there. We have Harika playing Karina, and Harika is, favorite in that one. And then Nihal Sarin, who is extremely strong, I'd say slight favorite against Igor. And then we have a new player for India, Divya, and Divya is playing Alicia and the bottom board there. So It's going to be extremely interesting. Great matchups. We got the cameras.
And one interesting thing about Divya is that this is her first debut in the kind of quarterfinal, semi-final stage, but she was a fantastic performer in the top division. I think she scored 5 points out of 5 or 4 points out of 5. She really played some fantastic chess. So, yeah.
Certainly. So the games are due to start any second now, and it's the same format for those of you who've been watching the previous couple of days. The only thing is, it is, as we know, it is already the semi-finals, and the match later on, which I think a lot of you will also be very interested in. It's a biggie. It's really a biggie. Just to let you guys know, it is, as we can see, Russia versus USA. Bring it back to the Cold War, I say. Remember the days of the 70s where Bobby Fischer faced off against Boris Spassky, and they used this as a massive propaganda battle. Things are a little bit more chilled out nowadays, but it's still a massive match. So we're going to be looking at that one later on. But the games have started, Jovanka, so let's crack on.
Let's check it out.
Now, Anand has the advantage of the white pieces, and he's playing the exceptionally strong and young Duda. And Duda goes for a Sicilian. Now, one thing I would say about Anand, and I've just released a video on him on Chess.com YouTube channel. You can go and check that out. And I mention it there. If you want to learn how to play this position, you want to learn how to play against the Sicilian, the open Sicilian, in my opinion, Anand is the best player, or certainly one of the best players ever in crushing the Sicilian. He has won so many fantastic games in the open Sicilian. He is just a legend. So it's brave stuff from Duda, who goes for the Najdorf. And now a rather rare idea, A4. Obviously, this is to stop Black's normal B5 move, but you can also argue this weakens B4 in some situations. The Black Knight comes round here. So this is actually a more positional way to play, because White won't be castling queenside now, because this is a little bit too weak. So Duda now goes into, well, I call it a Dragadorf, but dragon variation, which makes a lot of sense. And now we have both sides castling, bishop e3, knight c6, queen d2. Theoretically, this should be an even position because a4 is not challenging, but it's a position that they can both play.
Yeah, I was going to say about this e5 square. I like this knight g4 because it's very thematic in the Sicilian in general to put a knight onto e5 and make use of this c4 square.
Yes, the c4 square and main square in the Sicilian. I mean, black often wants to get a knight there, supported by a rook on c8. Knight g4 is a standard idea, and the point of this is you try to win the bishop pair.
Yeah,
Normally, white will take this one off, and you get the bishop pair. But white has good central control.
definitely.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think we can move on to the other games, Jovanka, shall we?
Let's have a look. Let's have a walk around the park. I would like to see how Wojciech is doing against Vidit. Vidit, of course, being hugely popular in India.
Indeed, and Wojciech has the advantage of the white pieces. Vidit been doing very well for India. You can see him on the cam there, and it starts off with a Catalan, which is g3. This is quite a safe way for white to play, positionally minded, but it can also get very interesting. Bishop b4, and now c5. Pawn takes c5, and we get to the current position, so we'll go through the opening moves quite quickly. And black now pushing with d5, preparing b4, so black stops that one. And now we have an isolated pawn position. So
yeah, there's just one important feature about this isolated pawn. Vidit played that move because, I mean, you might be asking why not knight takes d5, but it's all to do with this bishop on c8. So if you play knight takes d5, the bishop on c8 is kind of trapped. You know, still some questions to be answered. But after pawn takes d5, you say, fine, I'll take the structural weakness, but this bishop on c8 now has a very natural square of development, either to g4 or to f5, and then the rooks will simply come to c8 and e8. And this bishop on c5 is very well placed to support perhaps a d5, d4 push.
That's right, yeah. I mean, the downside of this, as you've pointed out, is the pawn on d5 can be a weakness, as it can't be defended by another black pawn. The more pieces that generally get exchanged in these types of positions, the weaker that pawn will become. This is what white is aiming for. And white now goes about a strategy that actually we're talking about, this World Championship match in the early 70s, Fischer versus Spassky. And Spassky said it's not the isolated pawn which is the weakness, but it's the square in front of it, which is actually the hidden weakness, this square here. Because black cannot control that square with a pawn, and the player who's playing against the isolated pawn can plonk a piece on that square, and that is a very nice square to have a piece. Yeah. Now, Vidit makes an exchange, starts to try to get active, and of course, Jovanka, as you pointed out, you need to be active when you have the isolated pawn.
You definitely need to be active, because this, I have to say one thing in white's favor, and it's a big plus. You know, first of all, he controls the d4 square, and secondly, this knight square bishop on g2 is on the perfect diagonal. Usually if this bishop is on e2, then black has some ability to get a kingside attack. However, with that bishop on g2, that is not happening, and it was just very nicely situated to put pressure on this d5 point. So yeah, I mean, it's up to Vidit. Basically, Vidit has to prove with activity that he's not worse.
Completely correct. So after e3, he starts to bring those pieces out. Bishop g4, the queen moves, and now queen d7. So reasonably harmonious development for black. And, you know, there is a problem, this bishop here on c1, which now Wojciech tries to, I guess, bring out to this other diagonal. And now a4 is played as well. I'm going to just move on to the next game.
Yeah.
Very quickly, and we're going to go to the game. Get it right.
Against Monika Sochko. Now, Monika Sochko, of course, was yesterday's heroine for Poland. You know, she really snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. I really thought she wasn't going to win that Armageddon match. But
before we just, sorry, Jovanka, to interrupt. We just have to bring the pairings up one more time. A couple of people asking about the pairings. So if you can just go through the pairings, if you don't mind, that would be great. Just so everyone knows.
Yes, so here we have, okay, so it's a big matchup in the semi-finals between India versus Poland. And so on top board, we have Vishy Anand against Jan-Krzysztof Duda. Duda, of course, has an amazing 10 points out of 11. And then playing black for India, we have Vidit against Wojciech. Wojciech being a second of Anand. Vidit extremely well prepared in the opening. Then we have world champion female world champion contender Humpy Koneru against Monica Sochko, Harika Dronavali, Grandmaster against Karina Sivka. And of course, we have big Indian talent Nihal Sarin against Igor Yannick. And Igor Yannick has actually been a substitution for the Polish team. It's not necessarily a regular here. And then we have the reintroduction of Divya Deshmukh, and she will be playing against Silvika Alicia. Now, it's interesting enough, Silvika hasn't had a great showing for Poland. So she managed to win her first victory yesterday. And we, as chess players, we kind of get a bit superstitious, don't we, Simon? You know, we might be losing 5 games in a row, but if we win one game, things suddenly look bright and rosy for us.
Yeah, it's totally true. And there's lots of weird superstitions that I think actually most chess players have. The most common one for over-the-board chess is your pen. Yeah. And what I mean by this, I think nearly every chess player, or the majority of chess players have this. You use a pen, but if you lose a game with that pen, the pen goes in the bin. No. You can't use the same pen twice. I don't know if you have this, Jovanka, but lots of people do. I do quite often. Is that something you share?
Yes, but I don't put pens in the bin because that's a terrible waste of of resources and money. So instead what I do is I buy very expensive pens, and I have about 15 of them.
It's all right if you got the cash, isn't it? You know,
I like pens. I like sparkly things, and yeah, I take about five pens with me at tournaments, and if I lose with one, okay, next one, and.
Yeah, I do like Bick. Something that Bick always does is he blames it on his shoes. So every time he loses a game, he gets a new pair of shoes, I'm hearing. And for Bick, that is often, he goes through at least 10 pairs of shoes a tournament. So it's even more expensive habit for Bick. Because I think he's got big feet as well. That's what I hear.
Oh, okay.
So
wow.
Expensive habit. Yeah, so superstitious lot. Current position, Humpy, one of the strongest female players ever, and she's been world champion. Quite a solid reputation.
Yes. But one of the remarkable things about Humpy is that she actually took a break from chess. She became a mother, and she took a 1.5 or 2 year break, and she came back. And she was a little bit rusty, and then she worked her way back up to 2600 plus level so easily. So I mean, that's absolutely remarkable to see. So I'm looking forward to. Yesterday she lost again in her one game against Danielle Yarn. She overpressed in an equal position and she lost. So there is that psychological factor in play. And Monica, of course, is on the feeling good, you know, because she got her team through to the next level. So
I like this last move, Queen A4, because one of the dangers we saw, one of the best games actually was Hungary's win. I think it was Hungary, and it was, maybe was it Pap? I can't remember, one of the female players.
It was Gara. It was Gunina. Valentina Gunina against
Gara. And Gara with the black pieces started getting a big attack with this kind of Dutch idea or idea of advancing over here. And in this kind of position, it can actually get a little bit dangerous for white at some point if black can come through the middle. So I think the idea that Humpy's playing is, okay, I've got this annoying pin. If you ever want to get out of this pin, you may well have to do something like knight b8 and exchange queens. And when the queens come off the board, your attack against my king is going to be a lot less successful. So I'm going to rely on my big center to give me an advantage. The double pawns, not so problematic here because there's not really any black pieces that can attack them easily. You normally want to go knight a5, you can't do that. You normally want to go bishop a6, you can't do that. So they're not really an issue, I would say, Jovanka, in this position at all.
No, I mean, the only thing I would say about this double pawns, at the minute, it's very difficult to advance them. So you're looking at them purely in the kind of sense that they're being used to gain space, just to control those squares and give your other pieces freedom of movement.
Yeah. Okay. So, but I mean, black is very solid. Black doesn't have any weaknesses.
Solid, yeah.
And even if black does go knight b8, I kind of feel like if I was black, I'd be like, okay, look, this pin, I don't see how I'm getting out of it.
There is one point that we've actually forgotten to mention. If you look at the clock times, I mean, I'm really stressing this, and I really apologize if people get fed up of listening to this, but the clock times are so important because this time control, despite all its appearances, is very fast. And you can see that Humpy Canary has only just under 7 minutes on the clock. Compare that to 11.5 minutes. It's a difficult time control, having played it myself and experienced the sheer panic when the clock has reached only 1 minute left. It's a lot different to playing over the board blitz chess.
I'd also like to say congratulations to Bear856, who is the first person to notice that I've blended my shirt choice into Jovanka's wallpaper choice. I wasn't sure if anyone was going to see this, so very observant chap there, which is very good.
It's a sign that you like me, Simon.
Something like that. Well, I like you.
As a friend, it just means that you like someone. If you try to copy them, or you try to use the same words or something, that just means that you like them. So you like my background, and you like me.
I do. I like both. I like Monsteras and I like you, Jovanka. You're safe. Yeah. I think this is a very clever idea. We've got to move on very quickly in a second, but even though the position might be even, this queen is quite annoying for black. I just don't see how you get out of this pin unless you play this move. And this move not always ideal, because now white doesn't even have to exchange queens. So I think Humpy, even though the computer might say it's even, I think Humpy has a better position here personally, easier to play.
But Humpy has to be accurate. This is what makes me a little bit worried. She doesn't have so much time on the clock. She has to be accurate, and it's not entirely clear. If black plays a few waiting moves, improving moves, it's not entirely clear what white is doing. I think as long as black just resists that urge to do something, I think. I agree with you. The position is comfortable for both sides.
I mean, I maybe mentioned these pawns aren't really doing anything, but I think one of the most natural breaks is c5. And if I was white here, I'd probably go a4, useful move, bishop a3 at some point, maybe put a rook on d1, and I might try to arrange c5. But okay, we'll come back to this. There's 3 more games to look at. So the next game is Karina versus Houska, and I think we're just going to do current positions in the last 3. We have this position here, Karina, with the white pieces, and the first thing to see, it's a material imbalance, as in white is the exchange down, black has the extra rook there, but white has a bishop and a pawn for it. So materialistically, black doing well because black has that extra rook. But black has some problems, as in these pawns are weak. If the knight on d7 moves ever, like say there, you lose control of c5, so white can get a very fantastical knight there.
Yeah.
Maybe not so good at the moment because it'll be exchanged. And this bishop is attacking this pawn, so the pawn is a little bit weak, as in you have to watch out for that one.
Yeah.
So it's certainly some compensation. Okay, now white does go to attack that pawn immediately.
I'm not quite sure about that move, because it does. I mean, one of the things about exchange sacrifices, for me, they're very complicated. And actually, for me, also, I need a lot of courage in order, in fact, to do them. But someone told me a very useful way of thinking about the actual values of rooks, knights, and bishops. That when a knight, are we going to be looking at a?
Oh, well, this is a.
Okay, we're going to probably see a draw actually.
A little bit disappointing.
Yeah. So what I was going to say about bishop, knights, and rooks, if you think of the actual value of being very fluid. So traditionally we have rooks being 5 points, knights and bishops 3 points. But if you kind of say, okay, a bishop on a closed, the bishop isn't doing anything, it's closed in by its own pawns. Well, the value of that bishop actually isn't 3, it goes down. And the same with the rook. If the rook is on an open line, it becomes 5 points. If the rook isn't on an open line, then the rook's value actually goes down to 3. And the same goes with the knight. If a knight is on an outpost, then the value of that knight suddenly increases up to, say, something like 4 or 5. And if the knight isn't in his enemy camp, isn't doing anything useful, then the value of that knight also goes down. So I thought it was quite a nice way of thinking about the value of the pieces, and kind of it's a lot handier to think like that, so that you're prepared to sacrifice the exchange.
So yeah, I mean, I'm just going to say this game was a draw. I mean, I don't know if white is worse. White's worse in material, but you can play on the c file, and there's a lot of play left here. You know, if you had to,
Definitely,
if
yeah.
you had to play for a win with white, you know, you can. There's, you know, rook f1, f3, but obviously Harika, the female players in the Indian team are stronger than their opponents. They're tremendous players. So it's a little bit of a waste of white, but understandable. And
It is understandable, and I think for Harika, she'll be feeling quite happy because, you know, the strategy is almost always you hold with black, you win with white, or you put pressure with white. So yeah, so let's go on to the battle of the prodigies.
now
Nihal
this
Sarin, a tremendous talent.
now this is very interesting. The reason I'm going to go through the opening here is it's a very interesting opening. This is the Queen's. There's a lot of subtleties in this opening. It's the Queen's Indian, and often black actually goes bishop a6, and one of the sort of things they've been doing a lot recently is trying to provoke queen here, and then they move the bishop back, and they say,
Yeah,
well, the queen is actually worse placed here because it has less control over the center and stuff. Now bishop b7 straight away is a move, bishop g2, but c5 has been played. It's a move that is known, but I'll be honest, I've always assumed and always thought it as a bad move, and I think most top players have as well. So
I
I'm
thought
very
had been put to sleep by the by Gelfand. Gelfand did an amazing pawn sacrifice. I think maybe we're going to see it actually in action.
well, I don't
Um,
think you even need to sacrifice here. I mean, the thing with bishop a6 is you get the same thing. So you get this bishop b7, and then you go c5, and now you play d5. And there's a
yeah,
big difference between this and the game. In the game, the queen is on d1, so you have extra protection here. The queen on c2 is a worse version for white after taking here. This is a known pawn sacrifice. But in the actual game, what we're going to see is the same kind of thing, but look at the queen.
yeah,
And the point
d5.
is, yeah, after d5 takes, you don't even need to sack this pawn because white can move the knight. Knight h4 is one of the moves, but knight g5,
Yeah.
and
No,
it's not even a pawn sack. You're just
actually,
going to win
I
that pawn
thought that
back.
the pawn sack Gelfand played a fantastic game where he just absolutely blasted someone out of the water, just sacrificing the pawn. He took on d5 and then played knight c3, castles, queens. So yeah, my understanding here is that if you don't sacrifice the pawn, black should be okay, but you have to handle it pretty carefully because it's kind of becomes like a modern Benoni, but what white has fianchettoed the king's side bishop, and these lines tend to be a little bit double-edged.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I've always thought these.
I've lost on the white side or struggled on the white side using this kind of
Uh,
thing for a while.
yeah, I mean, I guess my figuring of this position is it's just better for white, and because in the modern Benoni with the bishop on g2, I don't know if the bishop on b7 works, but it's a very interesting idea here. I mean, b5 for a start is
Yeah.
some complex way of opening up. But now Nihal Sarin has made it a pawn sacrifice. And
Okay.
after b takes c4, he's got all this pressure on this
Yeah.
beautiful d5 square. These positions are so tricky for black to play because white just moves his pieces, normal, easy developing moves, castles, he's safe. And I mean, I wouldn't play these positions as black. Let's have a look how things have gone. Knight c6 now. So black is a pawn up, but beautiful knight here.
Yeah.
Castles, bishop f4, simply completing development. Knight takes, queen takes, and now white gets the pawn back with the
Yeah.
bishop pair, with a
The
rook coming to
bishop pair
d1.
and this pawn on d7 is still backward.
This is a horrible position for black
Yeah,
already.
I don't like this position for black at all. So things are looking really promising here.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is a bad opening choice because Nihal Sarin is very good theoretically, and I just don't think this is something you should do against
Yeah.
someone so talented. But let's go on. Let's see if it's as bad as I think it might be. It's a nice square as well there. There's another nice square here. Look at those
Oh
bishops,
dear.
Jovanka. They're
Oh dear.
storming.
I
And
mean, how do
now,
you defend? How do you defend this f7
well, you
takes,
can't.
and after rook takes, and then
And
now
white
bishop takes f7?
and white
White's,
is just a pawn
but
up.
also just look at those light squares as well. I mean, it would be because we've had some positions where it's a middle game with opposite color bishops on the board, and there it's super important about who has the initiative, who has the weaknesses, and you can just look at those light square weaknesses on h7, and black just can't defend them.
White's a pawn up as well. I
Yeah,
mean,
and a pawn up to boot. Yeah, so
this
looking
this
good.
this game just looks like it's over. You might as well not lose a pawn on b2, queen here, bishop g6. I mean, I really just think this is resigns. Actually, I mean, the only hope, I guess, can black take that pawn. If you can't, as Jovanka said, there's this simple plan: put the bishop on b1, put the queen on d3, and then put the queen there, checkmate.
Done.
And black has the wrong pawn structure to stop
Yeah.
anything on this diagonal. So it's such a strong long-term plan. Can black take here? This is the only move, with some idea of starting counterplay. I can see, black has to take here.
Well, you
I think.
still have to. I mean, say if you did your bishop b1 idea.
You've also got rook takes d7.
Yeah, I was just also thinking about that as well. So just let's play for mates. Let's just.
Okay, now here. And I suppose I always had this move g5.
I mean g5. Okay, so.
I don't know if bishop d4 is correct. So let's go here because I want to get my impression now. And the point is, if you go here, the only way black's going to defend is playing g5. And because black's covering this diagonal, it might now be defensible for black. But I guess just, and this has happened, just take on d7.
Just take on d7. There's no need to play it. Be clever
about it. You still got this idea of playing this. It's a long-term idea, isn't it? I mean, but you've got the extra pawn, you've got the better bishop. It's very, very nice. Very nice.
No, definitely. I think white is headed for a win there. So let's have a look at board 6. This is Alicia Slivika against Divya Deshmukh. Now, well, black is a pawn up.
So black's a pawn up with this one here. So it's not a great pawn because it might drop, but it's still a pawn. At the moment, you can't take it back with white because you lose your bishop on e3. Yes. So white's moved the bishop, now is threatening the pawn. Can black hold on to this pawn? Let's say rook d8. If black can, it's just a pawn up. So let's try rook d8, for example. Maybe now we can play queen b3, attacking the bishop, attacking the pawn, and we win the pawn back that way, because you have to do something with your bishop, and I can probably win this one. If you try queen e5 defending both of these, well, I win the other pawn, so this is fine for white.
Okay, can we mess up the move order a little bit? Just go d4 first.
D4 here. Okay, very interesting. Yeah.
And so after, my idea is that after bishop takes d4, I'm going to pin.
Rook d8.
Favorite thing in the world. Pin
and win. Pin and win. Yeah. This is winning because there's no way. I mean, one nice line here, Jovanka, is if you try to get out of the pin, and the only way I can see this is going to c4, then it's very simply, this is the easiest because after rook takes, you have queen here winning. After winning the rook at the end of the combination, queen f1, you just get rid of it and you take the rook off. Yeah, that's a good idea, Jovanka. And it's been played, d4.
It's been played, okay.
So and if it works...
Of course she put in a phenomenal performance for India in the top division. I mean, 1 in 15 moves against Mongolia was quite impressive.
Yeah.
Proud of her, Simon. She played h4. In the opening, it was some
crush
4e5 and crushed it with h4, h5.
Yeah, and I have to say, it's looking good for black, isn't it? I mean, the bishop.
So let's go to Vishy's game because.
Okay, now lots of stuff has happened, so I would like to pick up from where we were after knight g4, and it shows a lot of respect from Vishy. I have to say that he's played the a4 line towards Duda, because Vishy, as I mentioned, has beaten everyone, Garry Kasparov, everyone, all the best players in the world in the more main line. So to take the more positional approach is basically saying, Duda, you're the dude. I know you're the dude. I'm gonna play more positional against you. We now see the idea.
Common structure. I mean, it's a common, not a strategy is what I wanted to say. It's a common strategy against younger players, that you kind of try to beat them with experience, this familiarity with pawn structures, or where the piece placement should go. But I must admit here, I don't think this tactic has really worked. It doesn't look.
I prefer black already. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. That's
perfect dragon, perfect Sicilian. You can actually see the pawn.
Let's have a look at how it played out.
Yeah, I mean the pawn.
But Vishy is a fantastic defender, so.
mean, the pawn on a4 is actually a bit of a weakness in a lot of these positions because the queen can slip into b4, and we're going to see more exchanges here. But the thing is, you've got to remember, in any Sicilians, generally, the more towards the ending, late middle game you get, normally the better black becomes, because he does have a better pawn structure, more pawns in the center of the board.
And control over the half open line. He's got them. Look at the control on the C line. That's really quite unpleasant here for.
This looks really bad for. I mean, this is just much better. Much better for black. Black's got the c2 pawn. Whole strategy's just really gone bad. It's backfired for Vichy. I mean, the other thing about this position, it's so easy for black to play. I mean, you just lump everything on the c file, and white has to defend, and then you just start expanding somewhere, maybe on the king side, and this is really ugly. Look, the only way to defend a pawn is to go super passive, and now white just has to wait. White probably has to just shuffle the king and see if black can win. So it's looking worrying, and he is. Look, he's actually just saying, I can't do anything.
I think that this is a good, he has some automatic moves that he can just simply play here, there, and just respond to whatever black does. It's
so now the standard way to win as well in these ways is, you have one weakness that you've created, c2, so black's tying white down to that, but you can't normally win a game of chess by targeting just one weakness, because you can put all your pieces to attack it, your opponent can put all their pieces to defend it. You need to try and create a second weakness. So this is what black's going to do. Black's going to try on the king side to create some kind of weakness here. Once white has two weaknesses, position will become undefendable. Let's see if this has occurred. There's no rush to do it, of course. Exchange, don't know if it helps white really. And now we come trying to create the second weakness over here. And there's no rush at all. Black can take the time. And let's see the maneuvering.
I suspect that Vichy will be able to hold this. I mean, it looks disgusting and everything, but just in terms of the time, just in terms of the kind of the ease of moves that Vichy has, he can just go queen e2, queen f2, done. And just, and it's up to Duda to keep proving something. So,
yeah, I mean, the time.
I don't envy this position. I wouldn't really want it for myself, but what it is, you do what has to be done.
I think Duda will win this one. He's a good player. He's been playing phenomenally well. He's got a great position. I mean, okay, the time situation though, Jovanka, as you mentioned, he's a minute down, and he does have to break. He has to play.
He has to do something, right?
Yeah, he does. He either's going to have to play f5, g4, h4.
Yeah.
Without playing another break, he's not going to win. And as soon as you do one of these moves, you have to take risks in chess to win. Exactly. And these moves are a little bit risky. So you're right. It's certainly not easy.
We have a result, actually. We have a result. Humpy Canaru has drawn against Monica Sochko.
Okay, so another draw there. It was looking quite solid when we last looked.
Can we have a quick look at Vidit? I'm actually... Yeah, because I just looking at the clock situation, I can see that in the bottom board there's some drama happening with one player got down to 2 seconds. That's Divia's.
Oh, let's go there. Let's go there.
7 seconds.
Oh, what's happened? Okay, hang on a minute. We had the last position around here, but black is so short on time. Black was doing very well, but hang on a minute. Is black getting herself in some difficulties? Rook e8, and this is with 7 seconds. So black should have been doing very well, but the time, Jovanka, you mentioned this.
The time is just crazy. Look, I mean, 7 seconds is you're in.
And this might just win.
This is a blunder. Queen b5.
Poland has got a point.
Yeah, because then you have bishop f2.
Just winning. It's winning. Poland. This is a massive
result. This is okay, and now queen takes rook checkmate. So
she's
queen takes rook checkmate. So Poland have taken the lead in really what should have been a game where India were putting serious pressure on, and you can actually see on the webcam. You can see the expression on Divia's face. I mean, and she's even. You do have to feel for these players. I mean, she understands what has happened, and she's got her head in her hands. I'm not very good at looking at players when they're very upset. So it's just.
I mean, it's a real shock
Go for
because
it. Yeah.
we left the game after d4 when black should be doing well, but black suddenly starts. Well, the main thing here, bad clock control.
She burned too much time on the clock, and then
I
of
mean,
course you leave yourself vulnerable to tactical
yeah, bad
blunders.
clock control. And she starts putting her pieces in very sort of uncomfortable situations here. Yeah, it's just bad clock control, wasn't it? I mean, she didn't have enough time to do that, and that's a big result, Jovanka, because there's 3 games going on, and Poland are 1 up. I thought India, I'll be honest, Poland have been one of the surprise teams. I thought India, they're incredibly good. I thought they were going to cruise in this match, but no, it's not happening.
I don't know. I don't know. The Poland have been blessed with some almighty luck. Yeah, you don't. I don't think that it was going to be an easy ride if India were going to do it. But let's have a look at the other games.
So
because again, I can see that Vidit and Wojciech are also playing with seconds on the clock.
If Wojciech wins this game, then Poland have at least drawn the match. I mean, so and also let's remember on board 1, Anand is struggling. So this is massive, and it's a pawn up for White. White has the time advantage, and whose king is weaker? Well, it looks like the black king is in trouble. Poland are going to win the first leg. I'm pretty sure. This is a horrible position.
King to d7. Okay, so we still need to get through this. Queen c5 looks very natural. Is there any
trying to mate, and 18 seconds of final defense? You have to maybe go like knight h7. Ugh, disgusting. This is.
You can go knight to d7.
I guess I just go.
You can go knight to d7 and then go queen f through knight h7 played. I'm not sure about this.
I think it's just winning. This is simply winning for White.
But you
just. Well, it's quite easy. I think you're threatening too many things, and you're a pawn up against the black king, and there's 2 seconds left. So.
Okay, well now we know this is a blunder. Why is this a blunder?
Well, there's a couple of moves there. You can even just go rook h8. I mean,
rook g8. Maybe rook g8 threatening queen g7.
Yeah, one of these 2 moves, and the white king is actually very safe just sitting on g2. So I mean, even if you just play king g2, you're going to be winning. I mean, there's no time. This king's not going to survive. Key game here.
Rook g8 played, and queen goes to f. Okay, threatening rook b1. Okay, so this is getting quite exciting because the thing is both players are on seconds, and when you get to this type of time control, anything can happen. Like you could honestly, you can have a situation where white plays h4 and the black king comes to g4, and then you're like, oh, okay, black is winning.
Well, white's got to find the win with 11 seconds left.
It's only easy if you spot them. King to g5, and you can just see that if he plays h4.
I know. Maybe it will end in a draw.
So maybe knight e6 check.
Yeah.
Come on, make the move, Wojciech.
I just the draw
want to see some move, because if he goes queen,
he's got knight e6 played the right way, because you've got knight.
That's the correct move. Okay, now I can just see the king is going to come up to g4.
Well, this is just
queen goes to d4, and I think that's it.
Game over.
Game over. So.
Okay, now knight here is going to be checkmate.
Okay, yeah, he can
checkmate into with queen h4 next move.
Yeah, queen h4, and yeah, Poland have won, so they're 2.
They've won the match already. I mean,
they won the match already.
Well, okay, they're on. All they need is a draw from 2 games that they're winning. So
at least tied it. So so let's have a look at. Let's go to.
So they just need to get a draw even from this game where they're 3 pawns up. Or they need to get a draw.
Okay, so India can win against us, Nihal Sarin. That's with Nihal Sarin. He's clearly winning, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean the match is over. I mean it's basically you've got 2 games going on. 6 board match. They're on 3 points already. Poland. Okay, so Nihal Sarin, is going to win. You're right.
He's going to win. He's going to win. So he's like, and then the question is, can Vishy turn it around and win this?
If Vishy can win this, Vishy has to try and
tie the match.
He has to try and win with the white pieces, but it's you're a pawn down, and it's kind of impossible here against someone as strong as Duda. So I got that wrong. So Nihal Sarin will get 1 point back. It's all on Vichy to win a lost position, and I say lost. The white king is so passive, and okay, there's some drawing chances here. Time, I suppose you can, if you're a fan of, if you're from India, you're a massive fan, you can look at the clock and say, okay, look, 19 seconds. Come on, Vichy, pull off a miracle here.
Yeah, but you know something, having watched many Blitz games, or I can tell you anything can happen, Simon.
I mean, I guess you've got to hope for a disconnect here. I mean, really, this is the only. I mean, this is
let's not wish for that one, Simon. Really,
it's the only way you can try. I mean, even if you play just to take the H pawn at some moment, bring your rook around. This is going to be good.
Okay,
but I think first, Black is going to get rid of the pawn in the match situation. Get rid of the last passed pawn, because now you really can't lose. Because in this position with Black, there's no danger now at all.
Okay, the only thing that I can see is that, maybe.
By the way, Nihal Sarin has won. So this is the game. Black only needs to draw this one. Only needs to draw. And I mean, you don't even have to risk it. Don't play for a win even if you don't want to. Just okay. I mean, I think Duda's going to try to win because beating Anand with Black is pretty cool. But I mean, just take the draw.
But I mean, I think he's he will be very aware that the team need just a draw.
Yeah.
And as we all know, it's match points that are super important, not game points. It doesn't matter if Poland
maybe the king can just come now. Maybe he can just, king e5, give the pawn, come in. So he's got 10 seconds. Now he's probably thinking, do I risk it? Because the team situation, and when I say risk it, you have to give up a pawn to get your king in like this. You might have to give up more pawns.
It's not a big risk, actually. But
it's not a big risk. But he hasn't done it. He's just gone. I mean, I can understand this. I just move the rook along here, offer a draw, win the game. And I think this is what he's done. This is a very team. This is really for the team.
This is great.
You're doing it for the team.
Great stuff for the team.
It is. I mean, this is. Now he's decided to win.
He's done it. Kudos to him.
Okay.
So the king comes up. He just did that to gain some time on the clock.
Yeah.
And now king to g3. Okay.
And there's a mate threat, rook to a1, so the king has to come to f1.
F1. And now rook f2 check.
Probably king h3 is also very, very easy. At some point, this h pawn should convert. This is the safest way.
King takes h3 and king takes g4. Game
and
over.
Resigns. Well done. Fantastic result for Poland there. I mean, you'd have to put Anand as favourite in that game with the white pieces, but you'd have to put India as favourite in most of the match because they are outranking, and especially on the female boards. So real bit of a shock there. Poland won. I did not expect that. I mean, fantastic. Well done, Poland. Meaning India have to bounce back in the next round, Jovanka. Are they going to be able to do it?
Well, we've seen everything is possible. So, yeah, I absolutely think that India can do this. It's just about resetting the mindset and just, okay, fine. Shall we give them a little pep talk, Simon?
I wouldn't risk talking to, for example, Anand now. I mean,
no. I wouldn't say that. I just, what needs to be done. I think I would just nod my head at Anand and just kind of go for it.
I mean, there's some real heroes in this team for Poland. I mean, obviously the board one, the dude abides again. He's on. I have to remind the viewers, everyone, and you, Simon. He's on 11 points out of 12. It's not bad. I mean, that's probably like 2,900, 3,000 performance, beating Anand with the black pieces.
He beat Mamedyarov yesterday.
Yeah, brilliant tournament. Yeah, brilliant tournament. Let's have a look at the bracket now, just so we can see what's happening. And the brackets, well, at the moment, Poland have gone 1 up against India, which is it's a bit of a shock to me. Poland, the surprise, they beat Azerbaijan, very strong team.
Yeah.
They've been fantastic. They've been absolutely fantastic. They do have an incredibly strong team. Let's just remind everyone that. But now they're favourites to go through the final. India have to win in the next leg to get to an Armageddon game. And that would be exciting, Jovanka, won't it?
That would be. Yeah, if we see another Armageddon, that would be just amazing. I mean, I have to say, you have to disregard the chess, but in terms of the emotional and psychological excitement, it's absolutely brilliant. just to kind of have these players. And what I really like about this Armageddon is that it's not that the team captain will choose the player. It will be simply the fact that there are 4 categories of player. There's like a men's team, men, women, junior and junior girls under 20. And one of those 4 categories gets chosen at random by the drawing of lots. And once that category is chosen, it then be up to the team captain to choose which player will play. So if it's the girls on 20, then they will have a selection of maybe 2 or 3 players, and they'll go, okay, you choose. And it's secret until the pairings aren't going to be released until the final minute. So the opposing captain won't go, oh, they're going to choose this person, so I'm going to choose that one. It's absolutely secret. And then there's a drawing of lots to decide on colors. And yeah, it's just, but I really like the fact that it's the categories, that different categories are chosen at random. It's not necessarily the highest rated player on the team that will be playing. So every board counts.
Definitely. And we can see the results of that first round there. And well, the top 2 guys of Poland did a fantastic job. I mean, both Duda and Wojciech beat the incredibly strong players Anand and Bidit, who are really, really good. So well done to the guys at the top, and well done also down at the bottom there. So a little bit of shock results, and we are going to go to a break very soon. We'll come back with a second leg, see if India can now come back into the mix and force an Armageddon game, which they have a great chance to do. It's going to be very exciting. We'll see you again in a couple of minutes.
Hold on to your seats.
We're back now with the second round, and this is a big match, the biggest match that India have so far in the competition. They need to beat Poland now to stay in. They need to win to stay in the Olympia. So it's really, really tense, Jovanka. Great result for Poland there, yeah, in the last one.
Fantastic result for Poland, and they've been in this situation before. Actually, they won their first match against Azerbaijan in the quarterfinals, but there Azerbaijan made a comeback to take it to Armageddon. So I wonder, can the Indians do it again? I think it's very possible. And just looking at the team list, there's been some substitutions. Wojciech is out and Gajewski is in. This is on board too. And the big changes have been made at the bottom in the junior section. We have Pragananda in. He replaces Nihal Sarin, and Vantika Agrawal, she replaces Divya Deshmukh.
I'm very surprised that they took Wojciech out, because he's one of the main Polish players and one of the best players in the world. There was a moment, Jovanka, I actually saw in the last game where Vidit missed the win actually against Wojciech. There was some rook takes e3 move, which unfortunately we didn't have a chance to see, but that would have changed the match and given the win to India. So it was a big moment there. It's quick. These things happen, but Vidit now a chance with the white pieces, and he must be going for it in this game. He's got to go for it. I'm also a little bit surprised that they keep swapping Pragan and Nihal Sarin. I say surprised. They're both fantastic players, and I maybe shouldn't be surprised because they're brilliant, both of them. But
yeah, I think they're so brilliant that you can be quite interchangeable with them. And I think it's also kind of keep your opponents on their toes. I wonder, on the subject of keeping your opponents surprised, I wonder if that's why Gajewski has been swapped in, because Vidit is well known for his opening preparation. You know, he works hard on his chess. Perhaps he wouldn't have been expected that Gajewski would make a debut, and perhaps Gajewski has something planned.
I totally agree. This is the only reason I can think that he's had time to do a bit of preparation against Vidit, and we're going to that game soon. But we're off. We're off. Yeah. Starters orders. Can Duda continue his amazing run now? If he wins again, wow, what a hero.
Yeah, it would be 12 points out of 13. Unbelievable stuff. I mean, you just don't get that score in a normal online tournament ever, do you? You get maybe 9.5 out of 11 or something, but still 10 points, 11 points out of 12.
No.
Against Anand as well, against competitions such as Anand Mamadyarov.
It's incredible.
Duda is on fire.
And you have to think, well, Anand is obviously a legend and one of the best players ever, but there's a little bit of pressure on him now because he knows, and I think you can see that. Look at his camera there. He was taking a very deep breath, and I think he'd be more nervous than when he's playing for himself. Anand, he's a hero of India, obviously for good reason, because he deserves to be. But he's got black. He knows he's playing Duda, and he knows this is the biggie. I mean, yes. You're going to be nervous, and even if you are the great Anand, aren't you? I mean, I would be. I'd be scared as well.
But this is the beauty of team competition, because Duda is in such hot shape at the minute. Anand's job is just to neutralize that. We very much saw that in the Ukraine against USA match. Jeffrey Zhong just went out there just to neutralize this Kirill Shevchenko, who was really racking in the points for Ukraine, and he did it. And so if Anand does that, then he can leave the job of victories to Pragananda, to Humpy, and to other boards where India outrate their opponents.
Yeah, we were talking about the board 2 match, and I'm very intrigued now to see what has happened, this substitution. And we should also mention that the player from Poland was one of Anand's main seconds, along with Wojciech. So he knows his theory, working with Anand in many of the world championships. You're going to pick up your theoretical knowledge to a very high level, and he's gone for the Rogozin. And we have now bishop takes f6, which is quite a positional line. The point of this is you want to stop black's c5 move. Queen a4 forces knight c6, and you're saying the knight on c6 is misplaced. White goes e3. This is all theory now. D takes c4, castles. White wins the pawn back. And now we have queen e7, black preparing e5, trying to simplify, also preparing a trick with knight takes d4. So now the bishop comes back, so you can take on d4, and b6 played, still in theory, obviously a key game, I feel, this one, Jovanka, because, you know, India must be relying on Vidit to at least push with the white pieces here.
Yeah, definitely, definitely a key moment. Black, I think, will be playing for e6, e5, trying to break out like that, and white will be getting ready for that break. But yeah, I agree with you. All eyes will be on Vidit. What can he do to put pressure?
And black has picked a very solid setup. I mean, well aware that a draw is a good result here. No weaknesses in the black position, but you know, white has the better pawn structure. White has more pawns in the center, which may start to become mobile and move up the board.
Yeah.
On the other hand, black now trying to play some line over here. Vidit playing quickly. They're in theory, aren't they, Jovanka? I would say.
Well, it's kind of not that. It's not the kind of traditional way. I think this is the older way of handling this side, this Rogozin for black. I think these days they focus on playing a little bit more with d5 and maintaining that tension rather than playing for an e5, c5 break. But yeah, it is kind of in the realms of theory. These days, everything is in the realms.
Everything's been analysed.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. Have a look down to Humpy Konaru and Houska.
Okay, we go there, and okay, this is an interesting opening. It's another Catalan, and Monica Socko was the hero yesterday, taking Poland through in a bizarre and tense Armageddon game. And now she has the white pieces. It's gone into a queen's gambit with the Catalan g3, and Humpy's grabbed the pawn on c4. White's going to get compensation with the center and the long diagonal. After a couple of moves, black plays sharply by saying, right, I'm going to try to hold on to my pawn. Yeah. White attacking that pawn structure and now simply castling. Theoretical position.
Yes.
White's compensation quite clear here, Jovanka, I feel.
Yes. Yes. It's White has a very good compensation, but this is all well known. So I think the players are simply just deciding what they're going to be playing. Shall we have a look at Houska?
So let's go there. And Houska with the white pieces, Trompovsky. So she's avoiding the more theoretical lines by playing this bishop g5 move, which is not as well analysed. It's becoming more well analysed. And now c6. Now, one move you don't play here, which grandmasters have played, and this is unbelievable. This is like a move which is tricky. Grandmasters in this position have played e3. And this would be one of the most embarrassing moves you can play. Because
have you ever fallen for that, Simon?
Probably. I can't remember falling. You've fallen for this one.
I fell for it. I was like, okay, no. I was a kid, and it hurt.
Yeah, I bet it did. Yeah, very painful. Because you don't expect these things so early in the game, do you, Vanky? You kind of think, okay, you know, move free, I'm white. You're kind of waking up a little bit. It might be a morning game. But the point is you don't play e3. You play any other move, because then you can always go bishop d2. Bishop takes f6 is one of the main ideas, causing structural damage. And now I think we have a more kind of traditional position here with knight e2, g3, bishop here, bishop takes e2 being played. And this is interesting. I'm assuming now white has to take here and black has options.
I'm thinking that this is perhaps a Karina's idea, that she just takes the knight and then plays knight a5. I mean, I'm not quite sure whether this is in fact possible, because the d5 pawn is very, very weak.
Yeah, maybe there's a queen b5. Even
yeah, I can see that queen b5 could be
a little bit annoying.
Potentially annoying.
Yeah. Yeah.
So perhaps, you know, bishop takes c3 isn't strictly necessary, and instead black should just concentrate on reinforcing the defense of this.
Yeah, I think the slight danger that black has here, I mean, black would like the pawn on e7 to go e6.
Yeah.
The pawn on d5, as you pointed out, is
have
weak.
A look at one tactical idea I've just spotted. Is knight takes d4 a possibility?
Okay, nice idea. So knight takes d4 with the idea of rook here. And this is maybe why Houska's suddenly thinking, nice. And the point is, if you take that one, oh dear, rook e8.
Oh.
Nicely spotted, Jovanka.
Oh,
And
yeah, that would be.
yeah. So I guess you have to play something like Queen D3, and exchanges may occur here, which is not bad for Black because Black will get rid of the weak pawn tactically.
Exactly.
You can just move the knight with worst case scenario, and you can allow your weak pawn to be taken, and you got rid of that weakness. So yeah, this
Exactly.
nice idea. Bishop. Okay, so that's why King takes E2 has been
Has been
played.
played. Okay.
A little bit dangerous putting your king on E2, but it should be all right with the rook coming and this going back. So Bishop takes
Yeah,
C3.
I'm not really sure about king coming to E2. It's
It's risky, but
yes, I mean I'm yeah.
I guess the way Harika's going about this is the other line was simplifying, and Harika's thinking, I don't want to allow Black to get rid of the D5 pawn. I need to win this game for the team. I have to take some risks, hence why
Mhm.
I'm going to play the Fred and move my king up, get ready for the ending. Maybe we're going to see King F3 and King F4 next. Prepare ourselves. No, we're not going to see that.
Apparently, just it was just because you mentioned the King run. There apparently the English juniors set up an account. I can't remember. I don't know, but they basically the aim of the thing was to get the king out into the open and then get as far as you could go without getting checkmated and then head back. And apparently they got up to 3,000 in rating at one stage just by doing
3,000?
this. Yeah.
Really? What kind of
I don't know,
juniors
it's
were
an
there?
urban legend. I'm not quite sure whether I believe the kids when they tell me this, but they said, no, we because everyone was so shocked, they go king F3, king F2. Sorry, they go F3, king F2, king E3, king F, and then back again.
And then come back. I
Yeah.
mean, getting to 3,000, Jovanka, I mean, doing that with normal play is impossible for me. So what juniors were playing? Was it a young Mickey Adams, a young Nigel Short? Who was doing
No,
that?
they were IMs and GMs in there. So
Yeah. There was another urban legend, and we just moved to another board so we can catch up with another game where we go through this. And the other urban legend that happened on ICC maybe 15 years ago, or maybe more, 20 years ago, where one player would always start the opening with F3 and King F2 every game, and F6 and King F7. And he started to destroy like all the top players. He beat Nigel Short like 5-0, which must have been quite embarrassing for Nigel. And Nigel said the only person who can do this is Bobby Fischer. It must be Bobby Fischer. And the guy was pretending to be Bobby Fischer, and obviously before Bobby passed away. In the end, it was found out it wasn't Bobby Fischer. It'd be quite funny if you suddenly,
was it a
found out
computer?
it might have been someone cheating using a computer, possibly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the rumor.
So
This,
let's have a look at how Pragnanda is doing. So
yeah,
I think India will be looking at scoring on this board. So just have to check the material. It looks to be all level, but I mean, I'm liking Black's position. I'm liking those squares. I mean, I can see that this Black has a really strong outpost on C4. I can think, well, a knight could get there. I like this pawn on A4, which is taking, I mean, just look at it. You have chances of perhaps going B5, B4 and pushing a pawn in an endgame. I mean, this is like obviously endgame future fantasy ideas there, but yeah, I'm really, really liking Black's position. Just lots of nice squares for the pieces.
yeah, I agreed, Jovanka, and I think at least Black is equal. White fairly solid in the center, and White might have a knight E5 at the right moment, but you want positions which are easier to play
Yeah.
when you're playing chess generally, and it seems like White has quite a lot of things to think about here, but Black, as you say, can just go B4, worst case scenario, get a
Yeah.
passed A pawn, or can just put the knight on C4 and say, what are you doing? So Pragnan is doing well here. I
He's doing
feel,
well.
yeah.
He's doing well. We have chances to be optimistic. So here's another substitution. So this time we have Vantika Agrawal playing against Alicia Slivica.
I'll go through the opening moves quite quickly because it's an interesting choice here. Black's played quite a risky opening, and this A4 move is a very good move, as we're going to see as the game develops, because it gets control of the C4 square, an ideal square to put a knight, because you're always going to have pressure on D6 and B6. And as the game develops, I think we're going to see that White plays very naturally. This is nice because the bishop's not a very good piece on that square, so why not offer an exchange? And here it comes, threatening the pawn.
Yeah.
And The other
But
knight now
my
comes round.
understanding is that I think that a6, a5 is a little bit inaccurate, actually. It's a little bit inaccurate because, I mean, I think advancing the a pawn is also a little bit inaccurate because you give it doesn't look like much, but you do give some squares to white to occupy, which will happen, say, for instance, after bishop takes bishop, pawn takes bishop, you have the b6 square, which you wouldn't have if that pawn were on a6. You wouldn't have b5 square if you had that pawn on a6, and you wouldn't have that square if you had a pawn on a7. So it's like just those kind of things help white. I mean, it sounds like such an insignificant thing, but I really think that a5 is perhaps not the most accurate move.
Nicely
I think
pointed.
to kind of concentrate on playing g6 and bishop g7 and just
it's a very nice point because, you know, if black had castled first, then a5 might be playable, but you've already given away the c4 square. And as we're going to see, when white has a chance before black castles, this b5 square is very useful. And I think white's playing fantastically here with the next move, which is, let's have a look, knight d2, because you can also now start playing on the other side of the board with f4. And this knight here is such a great piece.
It is a fantastic piece. And also, I mean, what is this bishop on g7? It's terrible.
It's embarrassing. I mean, in these structures, the only way you can justify the opening is if black can get f5 in, you know, to give that bishop life. But the only person who's going to be playing f5 is going to be white at some moment. You don't need to rush it. I mean, queen c8.
No, you absolutely don't need to rush it. You just simply, again, black is not doing anything on the queen side as of yet. So you just focus on the center. And I think moves like rook a6, it's a little bit, I mean, this is the thing. If that pawn had been on a7 or a6, then you can switch to the center much easier than you can if this pawn is on a5. I'm liking white's position. I'm liking white's chances. And in terms of the time, okay, you know, the Polish player has a lead in time. So I think this is so important, actually, in this type of chess. You know, 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes to 11, just over 11 minutes. I think white needs to speed up a little bit and just play a little bit more practically.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it's a lovely position for white, and I like this move because I thought one of black's ideas might be to go knight b6, and actually white wants to keep the queens on the board because eventually the black king is going to become a target. You're going to try to probably play e5 or sometimes f5, but again, as Jovanka said, there's no need to rush. Get your rooks into the right squares first. You can even swing it over to get a little bit of pressure. Get the rook to e1. I know the computer bar's gone down quite massively this move, but I don't see a reason why at all this is a bad move. I mean, it's just much easier for white to play. Time, as you mentioned, could be the savior for Poland.
Yeah, the only thing that I don't quite like about queen h4 is that I kind of wanted to play h4, h5, but that's just me. I like to I like to push pawns. I like to soften things up. But okay, I agree with you. I do think knight b6 was a positional threat.
Another thing really worth considering here, which is risky. You have to look at it. You have to look at these pawn advances. I mean, you know, you want to make sure it works because you could ruin your position. But you can consider something like e5 a lot of the time. I mean, not here, but if pawn takes, this idea of doing a pawn sack with f5, so the black knight can't come in here is something always on
it's
the
something
agenda.
that you do need to know about. Absolutely, you need to know, always consider e5 as a threat. And so shall we head back to Vichy?
Let's have a look. So Vichy is over on here, and the last position we had a look at was around about here, with Vichy playing quite solid chess. Rook coming to d8. White has the bishop pair, but black has queenside play here. Rook fd1 being played, with the black knight now trying to find its way in to one of the holes on c4 or a4. Looks okay for Vichy at the moment. I mean, it doesn't look too bad. The potential of the center is quite dangerous. If white can ever get d5 in, that
Yeah.
becomes really strong
Yeah.
pawn for white.
And this
But
is why you wouldn't play c takes d4. I mean, c takes, you might get a bit nervous about perhaps a pawn advancing, but after moves like c takes d4, the only person who has benefited from moves like that is white. This bishop on b2 had 2 pawns in the way. Now it's only had 1 pawn in the way. And I point out something like this because people might be going, well, that's clearly quite obvious. But there is a tendency that when you're feeling stressed or nervous, that you simply simplify the position and you tend to make exchanges like this without thinking. And just a little point.
Definitely. I mean, keep the tension in the position. It's another thing that top players do really well. Players a bit lower rated, they want to simplify things, make it easier to calculate. But you want to keep the tension because you can always take there. White's never going to take on this square because it ruins white's center. And later on, you might want to play c4, a5, b4 to try and get a pass pawn. So just keep your options open until they go. Knight coming into a4, going for the bishop. I mean, I have to say, Jovanka, I like the way, I love this maneuver that Vishy did b6 and bringing the knight all the way around to here, finding this square.
Yeah.
He's controlling d5 well, and it looks okay for black. I don't think has any worries.
I really like what he's doing.
Yeah.
It's just a question on time, and I can see the time is balanced. And I think Vishy has good chances to at least hold. So let's have a look at Vidit.
It's heating up in the Vidit game. It really is. They had a very solid position, and things start to get a little bit spicy with f5, and after queen here, e4, Vidit trying to come through the center. Now g5. Whoa. It's very risky moving pawns in front of your king because your king becomes quite susceptible to attack. But it is a pawn now, and black has grabbed that pawn. Brave play. Don't know how long that pawn's going to last. Bishop takes f5. Doesn't last for long.
It doesn't last for very long. Okay, but that one, just to check, because this seems... Is there a point? Is there some like tactical point? Because I can see this bishop on f5. It's a little bit loose. Is there something I can do to take advantage of this?
I mean, if you thought about it in a practical sense, that okay, bishop f7 played,
no, I was thinking more along the lines of bishop b5.
Yeah, bishop b5. And then trying to come into this square or something, yeah. So
or perhaps rook takes, or maybe the how to do it. Yeah, something bishop b5, and I'm trying to use this.
Well, bishop b5. The idea could be rook here.
And now
if you go rook takes here. If I go rook takes.
No, but there is a queen takes rook. That's a.
Queen takes here, and then after this one.
No, there's a queen.
Oh, queen takes rook. Okay, yeah,
sorry, I didn't specify. Queen takes a8.
Yeah. Nasty. That's a nasty little tactic.
There's an intermediate move there.
There's a real danger, isn't there, for black, that the king is really weak. So if you can get the queens off the board, just imagine you get those off the board. Black's probably better.
Okay. Yeah, I just wondered whether there's a bishop e7, e2. So in that line, bishop b5, rook e1. Because there are some back rank issues. Is there bishop e2?
Bishop e2. Nice idea. Nice idea. Because if rook takes, we have rook takes d1, which is going to be mate. If queen takes, then we have queen takes d2, which is also good because even though white wins a piece, there's a back rank checkmate. So bishop e2 is a nice idea.
Well, the reason I'm a little bit worried is because if I don't do anything and white consolidates, then I think white has all the chances to play for a win and basically torture me for the rest of my life because the black king is just so exposed.
Weak. Yeah, totally agree. I mean, this was a much more dynamic way of playing. I'm with you there because bishop f7 kind of looks natural because you're trying to cover your king a little bit, but long term, if the queens remain on the board, the black king is so weak. And after bishop b1, we can see this idea of the white queen somehow getting in here.
Yeah.
It might be all right for black. King G7's trying to like cover those squares, but you just got to be careful. You've got to be so careful, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to these type of positions with the queen and the rooks on the board, it's kind of like, I call them a heavy piece and middle game, and king safety and piece activity. Those are the two things you need to be thinking about all the time. And black really fails when it comes to king safety. So yeah, I think Vidit will push. Well, he'll have a lot of fun actually. He just has to keep the queens on the board. And
I mean, it's a massive mistake. Massive mistake here. If white ever exchanges queen, suddenly black is better. I just want to point this structure out, that these two pawns in the ending are very weak. But Vidit, of course, will keep queens on. He's played queen g3, and now there's even ideas of f4, just opening up more lines. If black insists on getting the queens off, which he might have to consider,
might have to do,
at least then the white rook in the ending becomes a real nuisance for black. I mean, I think if you're black, you play queen f4 here. It's too scary. F4 is coming.
F4 is really, really scary. I think you're
really scary.
Quite right there.
Looking good for Vidit then. I think slightly better for him at least. Anand doing well. We move down Houska now with the white pieces. Remember, if India win, it goes to Armageddon. Whoa! We'll talk about that only if it happens. We should know how it works. Rook c8. Is Houska got chances here?
How many? Let's count the material. It's always an important thing to do, because you just, I've always assumed that it's equal, and then sometimes it's not.
It is equal at the moment, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I like Houska's position. I think this bishop on d5 is just so nice, isn't it?
Yeah, there could be lots of simplifications as well. I mean, I'm not sure how this is going to be defended. And the knight can, I suppose, pop into b3. The a pawns, and I mean, it looks simplifications are going to possibly.
Yeah, I do wonder how dangerous the a pawn is. I mean, I have to be. Knights are crafty pieces, so I have to be always aware of a fork. Like for instance, if I go king to d2, there's already knight b3, and I mean, I think first you'd go rook d8. You go rook d8, and then it's like, oops, knight b3.
Yeah.
So that's just one example of how crafty you can be with a knight.
Rook a1 played to get rid of this one. And this, I think, is what I'm saying about simplifications, like rook takes c5, e4. The bishop's still good. If you can keep this, chances. But can you now just take on c3? Why can't you get rid of that one?
Yeah, you can take on c3, but I will take on a4, and I will try to say that my king is better than your king. So I think you should go back. Or do you try to do some active defense?
Well, if this doesn't work because my back rank, rook takes a6, and I have to start really worrying. So I think I have to just take this one and then come back here, and then get my king safe. You know, if I can get my king either centralized or on g7, little bit of pressure, isn't it, with that bishop in the endings? If white ever gets a rook here, it's a little bit more pleasant for white. But you know, if Magnus is playing, Magnus would be a draw. Yeah.
Yes,
it should be, but again, India looking slightly better. So far, Humpy, it's good news for India.
Just having a look at Humpy is down on the clock. We're looking at 40 seconds. But
can we just go through the moves? Because Humpy played this risky opening, and Monica Socko was the hero yesterday. It's getting very tactical, with white playing super aggressive. This is a great strategy. Even when you win the first match, just go for it. And now white is 2 pawns down, Jovanka, but there's a lot of pressure. Oh, what's that? That's strange. Something's gone wrong if you have to go forwards and then backwards.
Yeah, that's
maybe it's no pressure. Maybe black, and it's another pawn.
Well, the thing is, her knight was on prise on g5, so she had to defend it. Yeah. So okay, let's. Well, this is the final position. Okay.
This is it. And the only problem Humpy has, black is 3 pawns up, and there's no real danger. H4, good move often, but it's too slow here. It's basically saying, I don't have anything immediate. You really do have the extra 3 pawns. The only danger is the time, I'd say.
Time is going to be a factor.
Yeah.
We've seen that things can go badly wrong when you have no time on the clock. Queen.
queen coming out here, attacking the bishop, and 30 seconds now for Humpy. They do get 5 seconds each per move. The bishop being attacked. You got to move. You got to move. Okay, rook s6. Black is totally in control, but the time is the worst out of any of the games so far.
Yeah.
Yeah,
unfortunately for white, there's no real points to attack.
No.
How to generate play. It's a little bit tricky to do that. Okay.
Now, Pragg, how is Pragg doing? And we liked his position around here.
Yeah.
White, though, did get the knight into the square. Pragg moves his knight around, and clever maneuver from white there, covering also some weak squares that black has on b4 and c5. The knight on f3 wasn't doing much. Now it's doing a good job.
I like that. For me, I call this philosophy. I have a weakness, you have weakness. We're good.
We can share our weaknesses together.
Yes. Well, yeah, I like that one even better. Share our weaknesses together. Yeah.
I like that. Screws is saying he's taken a pragmatic approach to the position.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, boom, boom. nice little pun there. Let's have a look. So these dark squares, you're right. You know, weaknesses both sides. Bishop takes d2, knight e4, bishop comes back, bishop on b7, terrible. Queen f6 with some ideas, but I don't know. It seems like white's played this really well, really cleverly. With this bishop looking bad, and there's no problems of black ever playing b4 now, which there was before. This has been stopped. The knights are not coming to these squares. White's position's proved more than black's, I feel, over the last bit of time. And so well done from Igor. Igor playing well here.
Yeah.
Now let's have a look. Can you just take the bishop and take the pawn? I mean, is it just simply you're winning a pawn?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
So for example, rook takes c8 looks normal, and now just grab this one and say thank you very much. I'm going to have a pawn, and I'm with a great position. This looks good.
This looks good.
Yeah.
This looks good. Okay.
And so sorry, Jovanka.
Yeah, go on. Let's have a look at the last board.
And the last board was this one that was looking very positive for India. Let's see. Okay, very quickly again, we did have a look at it. White did go for the aggressive f5, killing the bishop, but giving black the e5 square, which black starts to use. White hacking away, and now bringing the pieces towards the black king. And h4 now getting ready to open things up more. Oh, sorry, that was going backwards. Rook e1, knight comes in, and now grabbing a pawn.
So things are looking very good for white, I would say. Expect
it's a nice pawn to win as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a nice pawn to win. Yeah, I think probably black just forgot about it, but okay. Yeah, so good chances there. Let's go back to Anand.
Okay, well, this has changed a lot. So what's happened here? I mean, it was looking like everything was going on the queen side when in this structure, but all of a sudden, we're going to see that stuff starts to happen here. Yeah, look at that bishop. It's been killed. Embarrassing.
It is embarrassing, isn't it? Yes.
And Vishy going for active play, getting the knight now back around. That knight has been working some magic. This is looking great for Vishy.
This is looking absolutely fantastic for Vishy. So, okay, finally the bishop came back into life with bishop b2. And yeah, just look at that.
Let's have a look. So can this position, can Anand win this position with black against the
I was trying to figure out why he didn't play knight takes c3, just one move earlier. Is there some tactical point?
I guess you've got always bishop takes h7. So after bishop,
then, okay,
let's say bishop, you know, in this position we have knight takes c3. White at least has bishop takes h7, king takes queen c2 check.
Yeah, but then, you know, I have a beautiful pawn structure.
If I go knight e4, yeah?
Yeah.
So let's all look. So knight c2.
Was there some deep
something
point
else
to this?
suppose the other idea is you can go queen h4 immediately and just try to take this one. This
Yeah,
looks
okay,
better.
that looks better. Okay.
Get the bishop to life.
Yeah, I
You
agree.
don't want to allow the black bishop out.
No.
So they are. I mean, the game's heating up. Look at the time. We have a result. Humpy has won. Humpy
Okay.
won in what looked
It's
like
an
a great
important
position.
victory for India.
Yeah.
Remember, you know, they have to win the match in order to tie, to take it to Armageddon. They have to win this game. This leg.
Humpy has done it. So well
Yeah.
done, Humpy. Great result for India.
Okay.
Taking them one game up. Now Vidit has also won. This is looking really good.
Okay.
Really good for India this leg.
Yep.
Black
already 2 points ahead. Okay, so
this is
we're going to see. Did he play Queen F4?
No, I think he had to play Queen F4 to stop the idea of White playing F4, because in the game after Queen D6 F4 just occurred.
Yeah.
And now both rooks enter into the onslaught. As we're going to see quite shortly, the Black King is not surviving here in this position. Even though Black wins a pawn, here we come. Nice game by Vidit. Yeah. Very nice game. And look at that king getting killed there.
It's all alone, all by myself. Oh,
nice.
One of the things that I really regret about chess, and I'm looking forward to the day that they invent it, is the day that the pieces can answer back, like Harry Potter style chess. If they could talk back to you and go, and that king would be fuming. It would be like, what did you do? What on earth did you do? Why didn't you protect me?
They do say you should talk to your pieces. I mean, people write about this, that, you've got to ask your pieces where they want to go. For example, the bishop wanted to go on this diagonal, but don't actually talk to your pieces. It'd be very weird. But if they could talk back, I've never heard that one before. If they could say, no, I don't want to go there.
Exactly.
No, don't move me there.
Hang on, there's been a result.
Oh, okay. Well, Prag has lost.
Pragnanda's lost.
He has lost. Yeah.
So he did in fact lose the pawn, as we thought he would, and the positions soon fell apart. So this is bad news. This is bad news.
And we can just quickly see the end of that one. Prag dropped a pawn. White played very well in this game. We've got to give credit to Igor, who did some lovely maneuvers with his knight, and he continues to do them here. And he is a pawn up. He forces this knight to a horrendous square, and he wins the second pawn. And obviously 2 pawns is too much. So it's 2-1 to India. 2-1 to India.
Okay, so let's have a look at Karina's game. Okay, this game is also good. Let's we can take our pick, really. 3 games left.
We'll do current positions, and remember, if it's a drawn, if this leg is drawn, then that means Poland go through.
Yeah.
So India have to win this one. So there's 3 games left. India need to just now get, well, they need to get a win somewhere. Can Harika win this position?
Well, Harika, if Harika wins this, she will take it to 3 points. And I think the important thing is that Poland can't win here.
Right, which they're not going to do.
They're not going to do. So shall we? Does Poland have any winning chances? Let's have a look at. I'm just looking at the time situation in the bottom board for India. Right. We're looking at 7 seconds, and and you can suddenly see what a turnaround. White was in full control, and now just because of the clock, White is in serious trouble.
Luckily for White has this threat of Queen C7. And this idea of Queen C7 with mating ideas is
that's very lucky. I didn't spot that one.
It's keeping something alive, isn't it? And so this is another key. It's a key position, because White has 15. So okay, this is very interesting. Trying to divert the queen.
Okay, and it's time 10 seconds.
And you want to play Queen B2. This is a brilliant idea. I don't know if it works, but Queen takes here, Queen B2, trying to come across. So White has dodged that one.
Played. Okay, so still there's a threat of.
Is it a weird draw? If we go Rook E4, are we going to get a weird draw? The point being, if you ever take this one, we can try Queen to this square, and we have some checkmate threats. So it could be a very bizarre draw after Queen E2. But I think Poland probably need to win this game if they
do need to
in
win
this
this
leg.
game. Unfortunately, is there something like okay, so rook e4 played just to repeat moves, and now we're probably going to see rook c4 and the queen e2, and then black will have a think.
And yeah, I mean, this would be a draw here, even though, of course, India were winning earlier on, is a good team result. We have 2-1 for India. This will get them a little bit nearer. So black.
But okay, yeah,
Can
just
black do
wondering
anything
whether
else?
I could play.
Hmm.
No, I think black is obliged to take this draw because d7 is also coming.
Well, let's say you play b3. I mean, this is the only move you can try.
d7.
Gamble, and then just d7, and this pawn
Yeah.
goes. Okay. So it's very risky, but maybe you have to try. Maybe, but if you can see the team, there's another result, result. So the other result was okay.
So Houska has won.
Yeah.
So a draw is enough.
A draw is enough. Yeah.
A draw is enough to take India to tie the match, and then we will see Armageddon.
By the way, this has changed now. In actual fact, White took on e4.
What?
And went king h1. I think it's still a draw.
It's still a draw, okay.
Because the king can just go backwards or forwards. So India are going to win this leg.
Okay.
By the way, Fishy's game. Let's go there.
Let's go back, yeah.
Fishy's game is now complex, with Duda very short of time. Looks like a draw. Oh, I don't know.
To me, it looks like a win, actually.
C pawn's good, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very strong pawn. Anand showing his class there already, against the strong Duda, and he's like, right, and you can see he's really pulled the form on. He's gone into the zone. A draw is still a good result.
Stuff. This is just, he's just showing sheer class.
Yeah.
So,
and the king now comes. Lovely idea. Yeah. The king is coming. So
now bishop takes pawn.
Get rid of that one. India have won, by the way. The draw on that board is going to be Armageddon. No matter what happens, decide who goes through to the next round. Armageddon. Wolf. And we're just waiting on Anand.
Yeah, so India have done it. Yeah. So the rules of Armageddon, we should explain how it's going to work, Simon.
We should. Yeah. Let's do it. I mean, we have been in this situation a fair few times. Yeah. And we're just going to show the Armageddon. So this is what it's going to come down to. One game of chess, Jovanka.
One game. 5 minutes versus 4 minutes. Black has draw odds, and there's no increment. But how are the players chosen? So there are 4 categories in this team. You have the men, you have the women, and you have junior under 20, and you have female junior under 20. So one of those categories gets chosen at random just by the drawing of lots. And then it will be up to the team captains, the individual team captains, to choose which player will represent their country. So if the junior under 20 gets chosen, then it will probably say if you were the Indian team captain, you could choose between Pragananda and Nihal Sarin. And then there will be another drawing of lots to decide colors. And this will be done. So it will be done so that if you win the drawing of lots, then you get to choose which color you are. So if you win the drawing of lots and you choose, which one would you choose, Simon? White or
which
black?
color? I don't know. I mean, I might even go white, which is a little bit controversial.
White's had a good track record, right?
Yeah, I think it depends on your repertoires a bit and your style of chess and what you think you can do with both colors. If I was good in the Berlin defense against E4 and I was very confident in some, like solid system against D4, I might choose black, but I don't play that way.
Yeah.
I always try to
play.
Remember,
you won't know who your opponent is until the pairings are out.
I mean, that wouldn't bother me personally. I mean, I think I just have to go in the way I play chess, and my style is to try to win with black as well. So I would, and I don't need to win with black. So I'd probably pick white, and I'd be like, right, I'll go all in. I have to win with white. Give me white.
Yeah. We've actually seen a different type of strategy with the white players. I was expecting the traditional way is to kind of go all in. The kind of more modern ways, shall we put it, it's basically to play a quiet position and just win on time.
Yeah, the timing is so important. In every Armageddon game, we've seen this, Jovanka. It's amazing. I think the players need to remind themselves the most important thing is there's no increment.
Yeah.
They've played with increment in every game up to this point. In Armageddon, you don't get added time. And it might seem like 5-4 time limit it is reasonably long. It's not. It goes so quick. And every game, you think it's come down to the last under a minute, and it's come down to someone either blundering or losing on time. So
Yeah.
whoever gets picked, just remember. So if I was the captain, I'd be like, okay, you've been picked to play. Good luck, all the rest. Enjoy yourself, but play quick. That'd be
Yeah.
my one. That'd be my one bit of advice. Just play quick, play natural and quick.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
which
and
one?
and if you're ahead on the clock, keep being ahead on the clock, because there comes a stage when you have 20 seconds left where actually the position doesn't matter so much. All you just have to do is make some random moves and speed up, because we have seen, especially in the first few Armageddons, where the players took some time to adjust to this no increment and they were playing far too slowly. Yeah.
It's so nerve-wracking because we might be able to bring the bracket up as well at some point to show you which teams are going through, which not, and you're playing for your country. It's not all of a sudden your team's just watching you. We keep saying this, but it's all down to you whether your whole country goes through. I mean, talk about pressure. It's like, oh, come on, give us a break. And
Yeah.
it's really really pressurized with this situation. It's some people thrive in that pressure, some people don't, and you don't know if you're going to be in that position or not because the drawing, the way it's done, you don't pick who
Exactly.
plays. Who do we hope plays?
You might be under the impression, well, it won't be me because I'm not the highest rated. Well, I'm sorry, but if your category comes up and you're the best person for the job,
you have to play.
You have to play. And
you have to step up to the mark. And we can bring the bracket in now just to show you how important this is. Let's just remind everyone, this is a place in the final.
Exactly.
Yeah. This one game we're going to see is a place. Will India or Poland get into the final of the Olympiad? The Olympiad, you've probably got major news going on back home about this, as well. Winning the Olympiad is like one of the biggest things you can do for your nation. So it's a big Armageddon game.
It's absolutely huge, isn't it?
It is. It is.
The final of Olympiad,
massive.
The title,
insane.
The first ever online Olympiad ever, and you're gonna play for your country's spot in the final. I mean, gosh.
Who do we hope plays the Armageddon game? I mean, I can tell you who I hope. I mean, there's so many different sections which come up, which would be great. But I do hope it'll be Duda versus Anand. I mean, I want to see the tiger versus the young.
Yeah, that would be a good. Also, Wojciech has he played a very important playoff in the Isle of Man.
Yeah.
And so I think if the men category is chosen, perhaps it might not be Anand. Might not be. No, Duda is of course. Yeah, Duda you choose, right?
Yeah, we can see the results now of that round which India won, and you can see potentially any of these sort of, I say boards, but it's really sections. So it's the top players, the under 20s. Any of these sections can come up in a random draw. They can change the players, let's remember, but you can see potentially, it's a 1 in 6 chance, maybe, well, a bit more because of other players, that you could suddenly play for your nation.
You can even actually play, you can even choose players who haven't been playing in this match, but as long as they are registered on the list, they can be chosen. So you could kind of bring in your blitz specialist.
Judith Pogar. Maybe Poland can suddenly bring in Judith. Whoa.
Well, she has to be registered for Poland, and I think there's a problem with federation there. But
But would you like to see Anand versus Judith Pogar, the old days? Bring them back to decide.
I would like to see Judith back in there.
Who knows?
Yeah, I would like to see Anand against Duda. I agree with you. I would also like to see. I wonder whether I think I would like to see one of the young ones, Pragnanda as well, Pragnanda Saran against a Polish under 20. And we haven't actually seen any girls under 20 Armageddon matches, so perhaps
I did say Judith. I just remember she's Hungarian. I don't know why I thought she was Polish.
That's why I said the change of federation. Might be a problem there. But
I think I was looking at Hungary yesterday, who got in there, who had a very exciting playoff, and I was thinking at the time, I love to see Judith come back. So obviously, I know she's Hungarian and not Polish, being one of the legends of chess. But it'd still be cool to see her step in. Let's get that right. But it's not very likely.
No,
anyway.
I mean, this is quite interesting because this is if this is your future of with Armageddon matches, then perhaps it's something to be said for having someone that is specifically trained in these 5 minutes versus 4 playoff time control.
Yeah, I mean, all these guys can play brilliant blitz, and they all do as well. We're gonna have to wait and see. So they're obviously going to make the draw now, random, what section it is, and they then have to pick their players, and it's just going to be on one game.
Yeah,
going to be great. We're going to take a little break before that happens and come back with the madness soon. Well, this is quite tense, very exciting. It is the playoff, the Armageddon game between India and Poland, and the category has been picked. The color has been picked. And you know what? Monica Soko has to do it for Poland yet again. I mean, it's Monica Soko with white against Humpy Konaru, and this is massive. So twice in a row,
Yeah.
Soko has to step up. Jovanka, what do we think about this?
I do while I applaud it, Monica, what a heroine, amazing stuff. I mean, I do feel for her a little bit because the psychological pressure must be so tough. She must have thought, well, I did it yesterday. Oh, my category won't come again. I'll come up again, 1 in 4 chance. But yeah, it has. And she's by far the strongest Polish women player. And so she has to step up again. And yeah, so I think Monica is playing white one more time, right?
Yeah, Monica did it with the white pieces yesterday when she knocked out Azerbaijan in a really tense match, which I'm not going to say she's lucky because these things, it's not really do or luck, it's who's got the nerves and it goes down to the wire. And she kept her chances alive. And I think that was the most important thing. In a very difficult position where, it was kind of up to her opponent to make mistakes, she kept it alive. And that's why she's going to try and do it again. But Humpy is a phenomenal player, probably you'd say stronger, higher rated, and very solid. Only needs to draw with black, so it's a massive task for Monica. I mean, I don't know which way it's going to go. You just can't tell in Armageddon. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
I mean, at least Monica's got some experience, I'd say.
She's getting some reassurance from some
Yeah.
captain, team leader, her husband.
I
And
missed that.
yeah, she's done it before. If she can do
Yeah.
it, if she can recreate that sensation, she can do it again and look forward to the challenge. For Humpy, it's a new thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but Humpy is in fact the high-rated player. So
It's,
odds
yeah.
are in favor.
I
She
mean,
does have draw odds. So it's just that she has 4 minutes on her clock. Can she adjust this time control without any increment? Well, we'll find out. It's been a bit of a challenge as we've seen in previous cases.
yeah, it's going to be really exciting. I mean, I mean, you would say on paper Humpy is favourite, but Monica did it yesterday. And the other thing I was thinking, maybe that takes a little bit of pressure off her because she's already gone through once. So even if she gets knocked out now, it's not the end of the world. She's done it once. If she does it again, it's like wow, 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 wow. It's just a pressurized situation where you can flip a coin really on the board, but it will come down to the chess.
If she does it again, I think if the Polish have some kind of honor system, she should be
OBE.
Given the OBE, give her the lady title, whatever,
Yeah.
What a legend.
Yeah, just give her. Yeah, definitely. I mean also it's place in the final. It's against the almighty India, and place in the final is big. Going for Humpy though, she's been in this position many times before. I've seen in events, knockout events, ladies events, and she's performed very well. She's got a very good nerve. She's one of the best female chess players ever.
Yes.
So we are in. Okay, so we have the first couple of moves, and Monica has gone for a Catalan, and giving up that pawn immediately. So we already have white being a pawn down in the current situation. You've got to take some risks. I guess her figuring, Jovanka, is that she's got a bit of better development. She can try to push e5 with some kind of attack.
And if this is unfamiliar to Humpy, then Humpy will need time to figure out the best method of defense or the best method of getting her pieces developed. So I do quite like the strategy. It's not without its risk. So bishop f4, bishop takes c7. So Humpy under a lot of pressure, actually.
Yes, time is so critical. Just remind everyone, the time is so critical. So I think she's trying to give a pawn back now to release that pressure. Just like, I'll have a pawn, just let me unravel my pieces.
Exactly.
Probably a clever idea, and I guess this has to be taken, which it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so the time it's 5 minutes to white, and black has 4 minutes, no increments. But you have to remember, black has the draw odds. So it means if the game is drawn, then black will be declared the victor, and the black in India in this case will go through to the finals. So yeah, Monica has to win for Poland.
At the moment, she's proven to be the much quicker player. I mean, this is showing a little bit of experience from yesterday, but black has a solid position. There's no weaknesses in the black pawn structure. Black has now managed to get her pieces out. This is why she did the quite clever e5 sacrifice. Yeah. But there's a lot of play left, and this might be getting ready to push for a DVF pawn. Is it going to come? It could
There's also the possibility of pushing a4, but okay, f4 was chosen. f4 is always a nice push.
It is, because you start to get pressure against your opponent's king if this pawn can ever get up to f6 in certain situations. Humpy going for the exchange of bishops. If I was white, I'd probably keep that bishop, try to go e5 even later on. But she's gone for f5. She's going for the attack.
Okay. Wow.
Like it. Brave.
F5 is not a move I would have strategically made. But let's see how it works out. It doesn't really matter as long as she keeps playing good moves and plays them fast. Okay, so 2.5 minutes to just over 3.5 minutes to white.
And she's now going to get control of the d file because the queen will probably come over, and this gives you decent chances. Maybe king f3.
King f3.
This file. Yeah.
King f3, and we've seen like it's been a strategy that has been very successful. Ukraine did it against can't remember against China. That they just simply got a position where it was slightly better, and then just tortured as the black pieces with it. So
I think there are mistakes being made. I mean, I don't think white should have lost control of this d file. You want to keep pieces on the board, and let's remember black doesn't have many weaknesses or any weaknesses, and by losing another piece, you give black allow black to get a little bit nearer to the draw. So there's still play, but I think black is over the worst at the moment. Keep an eye on the clock though. Keep an eye. The queen trying to sneak its way in. Black getting out of any checks there.
Yeah, Humpy playing very solidly.
She is. Yeah, she's playing very solid at the moment. And now can the black queen come in?
D3?
Trying to go for a perpetual. You only need a draw. Get the queen in on these squares. She hasn't gone for it. No. I think she should have.
Yes, queen d3 was a nice chance to go queen e2 and then
just try to get the draw like this. Remember, perpetual for black means India go through. I have to say now though, I think black is over the worst. White's realised the mistake and come back. Black just needs that draw to get to the final.
Yeah.
The queen's come in, but is it so good now? White's covering those squares. What do we do though? Do we check and try to get our own king in? Maybe we can play e5 at the right moment.
I agree with you. Queen c4 check and
e5. And this is
e5, because the king has a nice little escape route on h3 to g4 and to h5 and in staircase my way up the board. Because I'm just thinking in terms of perpetual.
e5's been played, but actually it might be an error.
Because of queen.
Because look at the bar. We didn't realise. We were both looking at this, but I actually forgot about this.
But you have a problem with h5. Okay.
Oh, this one. Okay. Oh.
No, but I mean the queen g1 was better because after king h3 you have h5 and the king is in a net.
But this is still looking good for black because black's won a pawn. G5 is now on the board.
Okay, so time. Let's have a look. Monica has just over 2 minutes. Humpy has 1.5, just under 1.5 minutes, so plenty of time.
Humpy playing so well though, keeping her cool. I mean, look how cool she looks on the camera as well. She's really keeping her nerve, and you need to do that. This is a bit like the game yesterday where Monica was in a very bad position, but she kept the game alive and she managed to do it on time. This is her one chance. Keep the game alive and try to time out Humpy. But so far, Humpy playing brilliantly. We have to give it to her for a solid play. And now the queen has come in with some nasty threats. The black king seems safe. I can't see India not going through now.
Jovanka. No, I mean it's looking very, very good for India. Playing some exceptional chess. Queen to d5, very safe.
Very good play from Humpy.
Threatening queen takes h5, and you can't defend it with moves like g4 because of bishop d6 and queen takes h5 played.
You might even have a draw somehow with check, this perpetual.
Yeah, that's enough. That will take her through. I think, king
queen e2.
Queen f2, and then you have to intercept with bishop f2.
but then it's a win.
Game over.
She's
India
done
will
it.
be in the final.
She's done it. Brilliant
Yeah.
play from Humpy. How could she keep her cool so well? Actually, she's going for the win. Fair enough. Take the bishop. How can you keep your cool so well in such a stressful situation? I don't know. I mean, White hasn't played terribly bad. It's just one bad move. And is she going to take the draw?
Yeah, she's going to take the draw and take her team through to the.
Okay, White playing for the win, but a little bit optimistic.
Okay, yeah.
And that's it. It's
that's
done.
it. It's game over.
It's done. Yeah, well done, Humpy. Yeah. Brilliant result. India in the final. India in the final of the Olympiads, and she's playing kind of automatically now, just getting rid of the last pawn.
But still, 49 seconds is a lot of time. So I mean, it's just a very simple, and then you start queening with the other pawn. Okay, we're here.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really matter. White can get stalemated, but
yeah. She's gonna finish in style.
Yes, congratulations, Humpy.
Well
and
done.
India
Brilliant.
in the final. Wow,
India
what a performance from Humpy. So calm and so collected. She did not crack at all.
I mean, that was the most impressive Armageddon game I've seen so far. All the other games have been a roller coaster of sort of emotions and going up and down. But Humpy with the black pieces, she faced some problems there, especially when I think this F5 might have even been quite a good plan, but she just kept her cool, defended brilliantly, calculated her way through. So really impressive performance by Humpy there. Very good.
So India deservedly through. What a comeback by them. What a comeback, after, especially the performance that impressed me the most was Vishy managing to beat Duda in the second leg after losing quite a painful game. It just showed his class. But, India, what a team. Deserved finalists. So,
yes, deserved finalists. And these Armageddons are very exciting, aren't they? They really are. And that's great for India to be in the final. They could be, Olympiad champions, which is, for a nation that loves chess, it's also good for chess in general, I think.
Yeah. I think there'll be celebrations tonight. But who will they be up against? Well, we'll have our second match, won't we, Simon? This would be Russia against USA. Wow. I can't wait. This is going to be absolutely exciting stuff this evening.
Yeah, so we can see the bracket here. India have got their place in the final 2020 online Olympiad, the first ever. Who knows if we'll have more of these. If it is a one-off, it's even more important to win it because you go down in that history of being the team that's done it. But this big match, I'm really looking forward to later on. Jovanka, Russia versus USA.
Me too. I mean, it's difficult. It's a difficult one to call. I mean, Russia are the clear favorites, but USA looked so powerful yesterday. They just dispatched Ukraine so efficiently. Sam Shanklin played some fantastic chess. Who else was there? Jeffrey Zhong, the young Carissa Yip, and Annie Wang. Wow, what a performance from them. And Russia, of course, they were just brutal against Hungary. Hungary didn't have a chance, but I did like that Hungary fought back to tie the second leg. But what's going to happen? Well, it's anyone's guess.
It is, and just to let everyone know that's going to happen, and I think in 5 hours from now. So you've got time to wake up if you're in that kind of place, or go and have some lunch like us. We're trying to get an interview from one of the players in the winning team of India at the moment. So we're just seeing if that's possible. I don't know. It just reminds me this, America versus Russia. I mean, America come on leaps and bounds, it seems, in the last sort of decade or so with their players. Russia have always been one of the best chess nations around. So it's a good old match in the style of Bobby Fischer versus Spassky. They're both really cool as well. You see their players, they as well as just being brilliant players, they were so efficient in the semi-finals. It's going to be a great match.
Yeah,
great match.
It was completely efficient, wasn't it? Especially from the Russians, where they just absolutely wiped the floor with Hungary in the first round. The same goes with the USA, just wiped the floor with you. A very, very strong Ukraine. And I would say still that Russia edge it in terms of being a favorite. But I do think the USA are very motivated, very well prepared, and they didn't really look like they were in serious danger at all.
No, no. I mean, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting. I mean, I can see another Armageddon happening there. You never know. It's very possible because they're so closely matched in a lot of ways. It depends, I think, a lot on, you know, the American team got these young up and coming players who have been performing brilliantly. You know, Carissa Yip, and to name one who I was very impressed with her. Russia have these just good all round. They got many members they got of their team they can put in. They've got a wide range of players they can pick.
But they do have a wide range of, but you know, America very strong. We have Wesley So on top board, you know, one of the strongest players in the world, and he's going to be matched by Nepomniachtchi, Grishuk, you know, and Sam Shankland is doing a fantastic job. So these are 227, I think Wesley is past 2800. So yeah, it's difficult to call it, I think. And Jeffrey Zhang being so, he's young, extremely good, impressive score as well. So yeah.
Yes.
But India, wow. Let's go back to the victors, the finalists. India. What a performance, huh? Did you think that they would do it, Simon?
Well, before the match has started, I thought they're probably clear favourites against Poland, even though Poland are an exceptionally strong team.
Yeah.
India have a range of players, not just Anand and Vidit. They have the female players who are some of the best in the world, the junior players, Nihal Saran, Prag, who are the best. So their range of players is immense. So it looked good, but then Poland's performance was fantastic in the first round. And then when you see the Armageddon again going to Monica Sokka, I'm like, okay, she's dangerous. We saw what she did yesterday. Very practical player. She's had a bit of experience. So, it was kind of like a bit of a coin flip there. We are getting news now, by the way, that we're going to have an interview with Vidit, who is one of the heroes of the Indian team. So we're just trying to set things up for a short interview with Vidit and get his thoughts on the match as a whole. I bet he's quite happy, Jovanka, as well. He must be at the moment.
I would have loved to see the webcams, actually, all the Indian players, you know, when they found out that Humpy had taken them through to the finals. I would love to see how their reactions, whether there were fist pumps, jumps in the air, whether there was a big sigh of relief, or whether it's just business as usual. Well, like a kind of nod. Well done, Humpy. You took it through. Yeah. But yeah, what a performance. I mean, I must admit, when it comes to my thoughts, I agree with you. On paper, I thought Indian are clear favourites to defeat Poland. But after Poland's impressive first leg, I wasn't necessarily sure whether India would manage to take the second leg.
Okay, so we're going to now try to set that interview up. So we just have to take a quick break to get Vidit on the call and to arrange that. So if you want to get the thoughts of India and of the superstar Vidit on what actually happened and how he's feeling, then make sure you stay tuned. We'll be back very shortly. Well, it's an honour now to have one of the stars of the Indian team join us. Probably feeling quite happy, I would imagine, after that victory. So thank you, Vidit, for coming along. Do you feel happy?
Thank you. Happy and relieved because it was so tense at some point. Especially losing the first match was a little bit of a shocker, like the way we lost it. And uh, at for a few minutes, I was at least like disappointed, but then I gathered myself, and the team did as well. So it's very nice feeling to finally win it.
It was a great comeback in the second round. You all played very good chess. And just talking about the Armageddon game, we were very impressed with Humpy. She kept her cool. I mean, I would be too nervous to handle that, but she was a cool customer. Yeah.
Yeah, I think in Armageddon, it's like, when they pick this, everybody's wishing, please don't let it be me, don't let it be me. And, uh, somebody in the team has to take this responsibility. And that's what she did. To go in this match, it requires a lot of nerves, strong nerves, and to play this when everything is at stake. And that's the quality which is required for Armageddon, to take up the challenge and deliver. So she did that. Very happy with it.
Yeah, it was very
Yeah.
nice. And we heard you were fist pumping as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and, sometimes emotions get better of me, and that was one of those moments.
That's brilliant. Brilliant to hear.
That's absolutely brilliant. Yeah. Did you think she would do it? Did you think Humpy would take the team into the final, or were you a little bit
Yeah.
worried?
I mean, initially I felt like she was playing a bit slow. That got me worried. But once she started exchanging all the pieces, she found her rhythm. I think like at some point when she played this e5, she gave this pawn back, and then she played the c6 b6 very quickly. So I thought that this position it's very comfortable for her, and she's playing quick. That's when I realized, okay, if the next 10 moves go well, we really have a good chance. I was only worried about time, not the position actually.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the time was the biggest scare. But yeah, once she got this rook d8 exchanges, I thought, yeah, now it's more likely that we'll win it.
Yeah, that's it. And we should mention that you're becoming Vidit, a bit of a superstar on YouTube and on Twitch. I mean, how many followers do you have on YouTube, for example, at the moment?
I think the last time I checked, it was somewhere 75 or 76K,
Okay.
somewhere around that.
Now, the important question is, do you have more than a niche?
Of course,
Of
always.
course. Okay, always.
He's
So,
trying really hard, Now that he got knocked out, he's
oh,
trying really hard to catch up. That this is his time, but he has
yeah,
only one day, so I
okay.
wish him
So,
the best for that.
yeah. But you don't really. Well, you do. So it's nice to obviously have some friendly rivalry. And everyone out there should go and check out Vidit and Anisha's YouTube channels. They're doing great jobs there. Now that you're into the final, fantastic news, and you're either going to be playing against Russia or the US of A, which is going to be a tough match. I mean, I don't know if I can ask you, well, you don't have to answer, but do you have a preference which team you play?
I think the favorites are Russia, right? I mean, on
Yeah.
paper, at least.
Yes.
So I expect them to have the advantage. But now, after today's game, I just cannot think anymore for at least next half hour. So I'll, keep off my predictions and keep it to myself.
Okay. Probably wise.
Yeah.
But it must feel great to be in the final. And in India you've got lots of support back home. Do you feel that support from your nation while you're
Uh,
playing?
Especially the fans. I mean, they're amazing. I think today on the stream there were around like 49,000 people watching
Wow.
live, concurrent viewers, which
Wow.
is amazing. And suddenly there has been a chess boom in India. And also, I would like to mention that today in India it's National Sports Day, so it's a nice moment to win and go to the finals.
Brilliant.
How do you
Brilliant.
find being because I know you're team captain actually of the team. How do you find combining those duties along with being a very important player?
It's time consuming because you have to manage 12 players. We have to decide who will play which game, which takes a lot of time because you have so many options. Like on every board, you can field a reserve. So, um, but it's a new responsibility. And I've learned a lot. Like it's feels like, you're managing some kind of a business, you're solving some problems, some internet issues, or that player has a problem. Okay, you go fix that. So it's been a learning for me. But yeah, I would say that as a professional to play and be the captain, it's slightly tough. So that's why I'm very happy that Srinath, who is the vice captain, he has been helping me out a lot during the entire event. So that's why I'm able to play and give half of my duties at least to him, which he's doing a great job with it.
That's great. So, I mean, I know there's a lot of people in the chat. They might have some questions as well, but you've got this big match tomorrow. So, are you going to be like relaxing now, preparing for it? What's your next sort of steps until you play the final?
If I start preparing immediately, I'll be a lunatic. So I'll just relax and take take some deep breaths and spend some time with family and team and enjoy this moment, because we have only one day before the next pressure begins, next tension.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, best of luck for tomorrow, and have some well-deserved rest and relaxation time now. So to enjoy your victory.
Thank you so much.
Good stuff. And remember, everyone, do follow Vidit. Check him out on YouTube. He's a fantastic player and a great streamer. I think we're gonna go now and take a break. Do remember that the big match later on is US of A, and US of A are playing against Russia, the strong nation. So
huge, Simon. I think that is going to be certainly a thriller.
Yeah. Okay, so it does sound we'll be back in a minute just to talk a little bit more about that match. So thank you so much, Vidit, for coming on, and like I say, good luck tomorrow.
Thank you, and congratulations, and good luck once again.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Well, great match to start us off with the day, and we potentially got an even better match coming up in about 4.5 hours time. So make sure you come along for that one. It's US of A versus Russia. Russia probably favourites, but US of A incredibly strong. Anything is possible to go into the final. So we'll have a look at that bracket in a second. But Jovanka, any thoughts on the match and today's excitement?
Yeah, well, today's excitement, wow, it started off with a bang, didn't it? With a completely unexpected shocker that India lost to Poland in the first leg. I didn't expect that, and I really thought that India were going to struggle to bounce back, but they did it. And boy, what a performance from Humpy Kanaru. Wow, she was in complete control. I must admit, I agree with Vidit. Once she started exchanging off pieces, she played fast, she played accurately. It was impressive to see. But when it comes to today's evening match against Russia, against the USA, I think that is going to be a thriller beyond doubt. USA was so efficient, as were the Russians. I mean, I think it's very, very difficult to call it. I mean, if there is going to be a weakness, it might be on the women's boards. The Russian women with Lagno, Goryachkina, and Kostaniuk, Gunina. These are some of the best women players in the world. They're going to be meeting Americans' young talents. So this will be Carissa Yip and Annie Wang. And then you also have an experienced veteran like Anna Zatonsky. Jeffrey Zong is also putting on impressive performance. I don't know, Simon. I mean, I'm on paper, I'm going to say the Russia, but I think it's going to be exciting. I think we might even see another Armageddon match. And then, as we all know, anything can happen there.
I have no idea what's going to happen. I think we're going to have to wait and see. It's all possible. And do remember that's in 4.5 hours time from now, the match is due to start. Big shout out to everyone who's joined us in the chat today on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/chess, where we've been keeping a bit of an eye on the chat and wherever else you've been watching. So hello to you guys. It's very nice to have you commenting and following all the fun today. We'll be back though. We're going to be back with even more crazy action. So until then, I think we're going to love you and leave you with this brilliant match. And we'll look forward to it, Jovanka.
Yeah, well, definitely. So make sure you tune in. So it's at 4 p.m., isn't it? 4 p.m. Universal time. That's 6 p.m. Central European time and 5 p.m. GMT time. I'm not really sure what it is in America. Sorry.
Depends where you are, I guess. Keep forgetting how big America is, but yeah, it's they can work it out. The viewers can work it out,
so so make sure you join us 4.5 hours time. Okay, that's the easiest thing. Yeah. Until then.